Oh, hello there. Welcome. Welcome back to Hallow Sims. This was our second last build, you guys. We have almost completed Hallownest in The Sims 4. There are really only 2 areas left, and today we are tackling White Palace. Now, this was a huge build. I definitely left a few things out. I kept this build pretty much just white. That made sense to me, given White Palace and all. I knew I wanted it to be surrounded by fence, very gated, blocking everything outside off, very secretive. But I really didn't like this particular fence. You're going to see me scrap the whole thing. And I start by just building the mansion proper. So this is going to be like a really large mansion. Maybe like a potential mob boss mansion. It just felt very, that was sort of the vibe that I was feeling, that I was getting from it. I also don't know what I was trying to do here. We end up sort of coming around to the general shape. I don't know what I was going for in the beginning. I really wasn't completely sure really what I even wanted to do for this build. I really like how this build turns out in the end. I've been really happy with a lot of my builds, really, but this one turns out really cool. And I do make a bit of a choice here. I clearly had to think about it and decide if I liked it or not. I do this for all of the corners, and I think it's a very good call. From an architectural standpoint, I will say. It just adds a little bit of, something interesting to the build. But only on the main house. So you're gonna see me really build this whole thing up. It's just gonna get really, really tall. Like so tall. It's very, assuming, very bougie. It's so large. Especially right beside God Home. I don't even know what to say about it right now. So I think I also ended up building this particular one while I was hanging out with someone on Discord. I did get a little bit of input. Now, you're going to see me do these custom trellis-like things. This is something that I have seen so many other Sims creators do. And I can't remember if I actually leave that like that. I always like it when they do it, but every time I do it for myself, I hate it. And I usually end up getting rid of it. I might end up keeping it, but I don't remember. Actually, I think I do remember, and I don't think I keep it. But I can't confirm or deny that. So, the entire build is white. I wanted it to feel regal and like really fancy, but not in a way that was like incredibly over the top. There are a lot of columns, I can tell you that for sure. A lot of columns, which I think adds a little something extra to the build. I also don't know why I didn't just do all of the corners right away, but it took me a minute to decide that I wanted to do this with all of the corners. I think, if I remember correctly, I think there end up being maybe like 8 bedrooms, and every bedroom has its own ensuite, like very, very extra. Very, very extra. And then I tried to do something interesting with this roof piece. I don't think it works out well. No, it doesn't. I end up just switching over to this basic roof. But I do curve, and I do remember my cheats. Always gotta be doing that move objects on. Always gotta, show live edit and show hidden objects. Yeah, I curve all of the roofs just a little bit. I guess not a little bit. I mean, it is a bit of a drastic curve, but I think it's a really cool addition. I also wasn't 100% sure how far to extend that out, but I knew I wanted, like, even though it's curved, I knew I wanted that one to blend in nicely. So you can see me fiddling around with that a bit. I do think I end up getting it to line up okay. That is not properly lined up. I don't know what I end up doing. This is almost as much a mystery to me as it is to you. Let me tell you, it has been a very long time since I did this build. Okay, I think I'm recurving the roofs. Maybe. I think I blended them. I honestly don't remember. At this point, it's been a very long time since I did this build. Maybe 4 months? I think it's been 4 months since I did this build, and I haven't looked at this footage until right now. And doing this for you guys. So fun fact there. Okay, yeah, I do scrap that tiny little extra whatever it was, the little building that was there. We are making a little garage. And I still wanted the roofs to curve. I'm trying really hard to make them work. I don't think I'm able to get the roofs to curve on the garage out back. It isn't really like a garage. You're gonna see me build it, like fill it in with a bunch of stuff, but it's not like an actual garage that people are out there working in. And then, yeah, everything's white, so we're doing white roofs, we're doing white wallpapers, we're doing white everything. And then I really wanted this like nice grand entrance, just an interesting part to the front. So it's very much inspired by White Palace, while also being something all on its own, I guess. I think that's what all of these builds really have been, that I'm embodying the area that it's from and sort of recreating it, but also trying to make it realistic to, I guess, something you'd see in The Sims. I don't usually, but I did for this one go pretty extra with the trims and things, like these here that you can see. It just felt appropriate to make it as extra as I possibly could, you know, like wherever I could go the fanciest, I went the fanciest. And then even with the roof trims and stuff too. Oh yeah, and I wanted to add these, I think they're called friezes. I think that's the name for them. The foundation, we couldn't just have a plain foundation. You needed a little bit of intrigue there too, a little bit of something fancy. We'd go with a thicker roof trim. Have you guys been enjoying this series? If you have, please let me know. This was something that I did on accident. Okay, so I added the trim and then I added these really thick friezes, but they didn't by default attach to the corners like that, and I was going to box them out, but then it just looked really cool to not to have like a smaller trim on the corners only. So I do it like that and I have no regrets whatsoever. I wanted to do a super extra grand staircase here as well. You're gonna notice though that it cuts away at some of the foundation. I think that's ultimately why I chose not to. When the stairs are right up against the wall like that, it always awkwardly cuts into the foundation. Plus, a staircase like this, I mean, that you could go so much more extra than this. Like this seems like a very minimal Yeah, see, I try and pull it out, keeping it grand. This is not extra enough, you guys. I needed to make it more extra. And see, I couldn't just, we still do the turnaround. We just pull it away from the foundation. And we add in an extra little bit. And then just make it nice and big and grand. And I do extend that out to the sides. I think that made sense. And then you get some extra pillars. Yeah. And an extra roof piece. I think too, I don't know if you can hear the train that's currently going by. I never have a good time of day to record these when a train might not be coming by. And I feel like that's maybe a little bit of a me issue, but I also want this to sound moderately decent for you guys, you know? If anybody listens to the commentary on these, I can't be certain. I actually really made a point to not put any windows in the front of this build. It just didn't feel like the Pale King was private, right? And he didn't want people poking in. Like, he hid his palace in someone's dreams, right? It did not make sense to put windows on the front of this build. Also, I have now returned to this fence situation, and I'm trying to decide which one. I choose the one in the middle because I think it looks the most grand and extra and fancy. And then I discover that by attaching it like that to the foundation of the house first, I can get it to look really, really tall. And then all I have to do is draw all the way around and then delete the bits that were attached to the house. And then it gets me the fancy fence while also being tall enough. But if I wanted to put in a gate, I couldn't just have a tiny little gate like that. No, that's not the vibe. That does not look good. But you can bet I was going to do these fancy gates, okay? You can size them up. I'm pretty sure they still work just the same. I do the same thing out front here, but we do a double gate situation in the front. We make it look real fancy. We balance it out on each side, and we just size up our gates. And bam, look at how stunning that is. I love it. 10 out of 10, chef's kiss. Would recreate again in a heartbeat. Absolutely. That was very much, I think, the look I was going for. And everything is still really white, still super on brand for White Palace. I also knew that I wanted to do like an upper balcony, but then a lower balcony too. Sorry, that made literally 0 sense. I wanted to do an upper balcony, like a little private back door, outdoor area, but I also wanted to do one on the ground floor. There we go. I got there. We got there in the end. So I make this like tiny backyard deck area. At first, actually, it might stay that big. I feel like, and I just wanted to add the thick trim all the way around. I couldn't do it without, like, I had to do this was so frustrating to me. So we just make it a little extra fancy, and we do that. And I think that was exactly the right play. This is why I don't think I keep the trellis roof in the back area here. I'm pretty sure I grab another roof piece and I put it on top of there. Yeah, here I go deleting all of it. I knew I didn't keep it. This is what I mean. It's always such a cool idea at first, and then I implement it in a build and I start doing the rest of the build, and then it no longer looks right. Like, it just doesn't feel appropriate. I do replace it. We do a regular roof piece. I just try and keep it really low, but really pulled in to the home. Because it doesn't need to be like a big roof thing. And then also, I did want to put some windows in a few places. So I did need some open wall space in order to do the windows. So I end up making the back patio a little bit more grand. You gotta have a big fancy staircase. What can I say? It also felt like the kind of place where, like, the dad, the Pale King, wouldn't be like, hey kids, go outside and play. He'd be like, you're never allowed to leave the house. You can't go anywhere, nobody can see you. And I wanted to do like a cool stonework type of facade originally, but then it was kind of looking weird with all the rest of the stuff. Like the really thick friezes and the tile that I picked for the roof. I really liked that tile in particular for the roof. So I sort of planned the wall texture around that. I figured I could get away with doing a different one on the garage out back. And then I knew I wanted like almost a vault looking door. I wanted to go with that big door, but it's actually a pet door and it didn't feel right. Now I go with this like white stucco type of wall pattern, I think. And then I knew I needed like a grand door, a very grand front door, but I didn't want it to have a bunch of window that you could see through. Like, I feel like the owner here would not want you looking in, you know? I think I end up settling on, yeah, that's a good one. I really liked the Realm of Magic door there, probably because I did Realm of Magic fence. But I go with that one because it's solid and you can't see into it, and it's still really, really big. In hindsight, I should have done 2 doors. I do put one with glass out the back. Like, they could get away with doing a little bit of glass in the back, just because that's where things are maybe hidden a little bit more. you know, the security people would be on point. They wouldn't be letting anybody in. Nobody could see in. But the front is solid. Nobody can see in through the front. And then I wanted to do, this is like a fancy garage. It's really just a display space for some fun, fancy, maybe sporty or old cars. It's not like a real garage that you do work in. It's a display. And I wanted to do like a real garage door, which I think I do end up doing. I wanted to do doubles, but would not allow. So we just do a regular door, and then you have the garage door. I don't think that's a functional item. Pretty sure that's a debug item, but I could be wrong. It might be functional. I don't think it is, but don't quote me on that. So now is where we start to get into a bit of we're doing the floor plan, we're doing the interior stuff. I wanted the grand staircase, the big grand entrance. We close it in just a little bit, but not a lot. And I do end up doing 2 like little closets on each side. I had to keep replacing all of the front friezes too, which was weird. But it's okay, Sims. I get it. It just glitched a little bit on me. No big deal. And then I looked at it and I went, okay, there's a lot of space. This like bottom main area, this has got to be the primary like open living spaces, you know, kitchen, family room, that sort of thing. We gotta have all of that up in here. And then I tried to like open things up down below with the stairs to do this like fun little thing, but then I couldn't because the roof would clip in and I got a little frustrated with it. I think I just leave those 2 pillars there as like a fun little, I don't know, a fun little feature, and then I try and keep it as open as I can while also putting more stairs because we still have a 3rd level. For real, guys, I'm gonna try my very best and I tried while I was building this too. Tried so hard to make this build go as quickly as possible. Pretty much all of the bedrooms are like a copy paste. They're all very much a similar floor plan, a very similar situation. The ones in the corners get a little bit like interesting, I guess, if you want to call it that. This one was actually a little tricky to do, just sectioning it off. I wasn't 100%, but I make sure right there, I make sure that there's a little ensuite bathroom in each one. And then this one I was trying to figure out. I think I end up doing the same size in the other space. Yeah, so this one up here was going to be a master bedroom of sorts. I should really, actually, I heard another creator recently talk about this in a video. The main bedroom. We shouldn't be calling them master suites or bedrooms anymore, because that's really inappropriate and uncomfortable. These are just like bedrooms that are a little bit bigger, but also essentially the same thing. All of the bedrooms in this build are pretty spacious, like way more spacious than any bedroom I ever had or saw growing up. And then that corner up there could have been a bedroom. Realistically, this entire place could have just been bedrooms. But I do more than just bedrooms. Yeah, so we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 bedrooms up top. 5, 6, so I guess 6 bedrooms. And then I was trying to figure out how to divide the main space downstairs. We gotta light the space. Now, when it came to the end of the build, you're gonna see me, I think, remove a number of the lights, because White Palace is in somebody's mind, right? And it just felt like the kind of place where you would have just enough light to see without really like being able to see. It felt like it would be a very dim place. Yeah, we do the big walk-in wardrobes. And in the front as well, you got 2 big walk-in wardrobes. Same wardrobe for every room. The main suite, I think, do I do this? I do the same bed for all of them. This one felt very White Palace to me, this bed. I didn't want the rooms to be like exactly the same, but they're all going to be exactly the same in some way, shape, or form. They're pretty spacious though, like especially these ones down here. I don't know if these would necessarily be bedrooms for kids, like maybe the whole family is on the 3rd floor, like the very top floor, and then these are just like guest suites. I feel like that would make sense to me, at least. And then I wanted to do this bed that was like in the middle of the room. You could look out over like a wicked cool view and see everything. Like this particular way of doing a bed in a bedroom just feels really grand and extra and bougie to me, you know? And I tried, because of how large this build is, I tried to keep this incredibly minimal. I don't think there's any clutter, like anywhere. I only throw in things that are necessary for the build. There's like no extra, as little as possible extra. Because of how large this is, I knew, and I think it's if you put in too many mirrors, the game really starts to lag. So I tried to keep the mirrors to a minimum. There's gonna be just like 1 mirror in each room, and then I think a small mirror above each sink in a bathroom. But outside of that, there's like no reflections. It also didn't feel like the kind of place, like Pale King didn't want people looking at their, I don't know, there were no mirrors, I don't think, in White Palace. It's been a while since I've played the game. I don't know if you can tell. And I really wanted to do, okay, I so badly wanted to use these countertops from Realm of Magic. So many items from Realm of Magic felt like exactly right for in this build. It was a struggle not to use them. I don't remember if I do actually use them or not. I'm pretty sure I do. I think I stick to my guns. This is the kitchen proper. So I wanted to do this like big, grand kitchen, but it's hidden away. So you would hire like kitchen staff to come in here and cook and work, but you wouldn't see any of the cooking or the work that they were doing. It would all be behind like a little closed kitchen door. And then I very badly wanted cabinets. Realm of Magic, I don't think has upper cabinets. And that really frustrates me. Like, please put in upper cabinets for Realm of Magic. I so badly wanted even just a wall of really tall cabinetry. And the struggle was real. I couldn't find it. Like, all of these white ones just didn't look good. Nothing matched. Nothing matched with anything. I thought, okay, maybe I'll trade out. Again, I'm trying not to use custom content on you guys. I thought maybe I'll do these counters because these ones look really good. Is there a matching cabinet? No. Had to scrap the whole thing. It was very upsetting. And I wanted to hide the range hoods, but again, there were no cabinets. Yeah, there were no good cabinets that made sense. I almost went custom content there too, but they were way too white. Just didn't match with the rest of the space. So we keep the whole thing just very open. I mean, the walls are also way too tall, that if you were to do like cabinets that went all the way up to the ceiling, that would be so tall, like way too tall. And I don't know why the pillars kept glitching like this every time I tried to put. I wanted to do like a cool little bit, but every time I connected to one of the two walls, it would stop doing what I wanted it to do. And it would do this. It was absolutely infuriating. In hindsight, I think it actually would have looked nice to have the pillars in that one extra space, and then to just do a wall bit coming in on each side. That's not what I end up doing. Don't get attached to any of this. I decide to give up. I'm just gonna go with archways because they're these super cool. I think that's also Realm of Magic. A lot of Realm of Magic stuff felt really appropriate for this build. It is what it is. I don't know what to tell you. But we've got our massive proper kitchen, and then just a few counters out here, sort of like a display kitchen, if you will. We do a little island in case everybody wanted to like come around, do some baking together, or pretend baking, like the chef was already in there, did all the proper baking. You come out here, you decorate the cookies or something. Like, this is very much a decorative kitchen in front of the proper kitchen type scenario, with a couple of wine fridges. I did a whole bank of them, like a nice proper cellar type. And I wasn't sure how many cabinets to put in this kitchen space, because realistically no one's using them, and I wasn't doing clutter items. I was only doing useful items, right? A couple of smoke detectors in there. You gotta be safe. Gotta keep everybody safe. This was a really cool build to do. It was really fun, but it is very bland and boring. It is very repetitive. If I had to go back, I don't think I would change a lot. I don't really think I would change anything. I mean, it's White Palace. It's supposed to be plain white. All of the rooms just get white paint. That's it. Plain and simple. In terms of a build, this was tricky, but also very easy. We kept it nice and clean with some wood slats. Yeah, and for whatever reason, my freezes kept glitching out. And then I realized that, oh, I didn't have any on these upper spaces. So I finally righted the wrong, the inconsistency. I didn't know if I wanted to do just the same floorboards in the bedrooms. I do go with the same floorboards. I'm pretty sure I do the same floorboards everywhere, just to keep things consistent. And then, you know, you can throw in a rug moment if you want one. And then the same tile. The same tile in the bathrooms, in the kitchen. And then a different tile. Actually, I think I do the same tile on the porches as well. I wanted so bad to do this like massive community table, like a really big grand dining experience. No dice. No dice. So you get this like tiny, I think this was as big as I could go, and more Realm of Magic. A lot of this build is Realm of Magic. It would have been really cool to expand out from Realm of Magic, but there were just so many pieces from Realm of Magic that made sense to me for this build. Yeah, so I do these little like pretty wall sconces, and I do them in all of the places where it makes sense, and then I start to eliminate as many of the upper lights as possible so that there's a little bit of light, but it's also very dim and you can't really see what's going on. We put a nice rug moment in the dining space. I wanted a really big rug moment. It was frustrating. Watching this back, I think I'm realizing that I would maybe have had an easier time if I had more packs, maybe just 1 or 2 more packs to choose from. Because I think there would have been some items in those packs that would have worked better than what I had available to me. That being said, I do really like that rug. That's a very good rug moment. And then I thought, you know what, I should do a bit of a runner, like a little carpet runner down the hallway. No, hell no. We kept this as minimal as we could. It was also looking weird trying to match up the rugs to each other, like having them so close. And I don't know why, but I had to put in my cheat codes all over again. So, okay, I found this painting. This is, I think, a base game. No, it's not a base game painting, but it's from one of the better packs, like one of the packs that's definitely worthwhile to purchase. And it, especially sized up, it gave me real mad, like, Pale King vibes. And then you finally get some windows. The only windows that are in this space face the backyard and the backyard only. Can't have anybody looking in on this house. No way. So I really go ham on the windows, but only on the one side of the belt. I think it's appropriate considering, you know, the space, considering the whole thing. This, okay. So this is going to be like an open family room, and then I'm going to make an office, like a special room just for Pale King's room. I go with the Realm of Magic door. It felt very grand to me, and it was still nice and like fit the theme of everything. I go Realm of Magic door for all of the rooms, apparently. You can tell how long it's been since I've done this build. I remember like none of this. But that's okay. We soldier on. I don't remember what I was trying to do. Oh, right. So I realized that I needed to just have a general access bathroom. So I made a little adjustment to the one bedroom. And then there you go. We have a general access, very oddly sized bathroom, but a bathroom nonetheless. And I put in, a couple of wall sconces. Like I said, I'm trying to keep this really dimly lit. Once I've finished an area, I do my very best to keep it as dimly lit as possible. And again, my freezes, they kept like vanishing on me. It was really frustrating. And then I had to try and line that back up again. We get there. The little garage doesn't get all of the fun fancy frieze, but it gets the fancy wood, the roof trim. I think that's what matters. So we're going to do the family room. I wanted a couch that looked fancy but not comfy because of how uncomfortable looking the Pale King's chair seems to be. That was definitely my inspiration. It also felt appropriate to do a fireplace in here. Not that I think there would be one in the White Palace, but it felt appropriate for the nature of the build. I also wanted to use furniture that I wouldn't typically use, like these chairs, like this couch. Again, incredibly minimal. This is an extra build while also not at all being extra, which I think is really funny a little bit. It's as symmetrical as I could get it, and I wanted a really big coffee table, like one that I never use. They have these massive square ones, and I never use them because I never do builds in my fun spare time where that type of coffee table would fit and be appropriate. We've got a similar rug moment to, actually I think it's the same one, for the family room space. Same one as in the dining room. And then you gotta have some big blinds on these windows. Some big, like, pretty drapey curtains. I did this curtain combination, I think, and I felt really good about it. I think I keep it. I think I maybe, oh no, I do this one, but I do a combination of curtains just like that. Looking back at it, I should have done, I liked the little gauzy one that hung down the middle. I think that was really cool. But I do really like these too. It just gives a little bit extra. They're both kind of like white, whitish gray. None of the curtains that I wanted to put on those windows felt like they fit, like there just wasn't enough fabric there for me to justify it a little bit. Okay, so this office, I'm trying so hard not to laugh into the microphone right now. This was easily my favorite room to build, and it's a little funny. Because I don't really... So, in terms of an office, I also don't know why I start to deviate from my original table and chair combination. I think I just found something that maybe also would have worked really well. This office, I wanted to do this chair in particular because it reminded me of the Pale King's throne that he's sitting on. But this office is pretty much just that. That's all it is. It's just that. And I even get rid of like pretty much all the light except for the one and just the two little wall sconces. That's it. That's the whole office. It's the Pale King's domain. The one place for him to sit. And he's happy. He's happy as a clam. And then we're going to do a little upstairs sitting room. I don't think I put any TVs in anywhere here. Because why would I? That's not the vibe. But I do put a lot of these portraits in, like Pale King portraits. Like he wants himself to be known. This is his place. I do make this a fun little library room. This and the office, the downstairs office, these are my two favorite rooms in this whole build. It would have been cool if that bookshelf actually like lined up where I wanted it to be. But it's cool. I mean, it's no big deal. It's away from the wall a little bit, so there's a little bit of that dead space, but no big deal. And then I do maybe one more bookshelf. I think I move... Oh, I thought I moved one bookshelf into the corner. I guess not. That's okay. We do put a desk in here, not one that's as fancy as Pale King's. Just a really simple desk with a chair, you know, maybe a particularly studious person likes to hang out in this room. And I put it dead center, and then there's just a little couch for lounging. I don't know why I went with such a comfy couch, but I figured upstairs there would be maybe a little bit more luxury. And then we do put a few windows only in the upstairs. And for some reason, in the main areas, still no windows in the front of the house, but windows in the back for sure. You know, business in the front, windows in the back. As they say, the old adage. And a little door to take you out to the upper balcony space, whatever you want to call it. I don't think I do anything outside there. I think I just leave that empty. In hindsight, I should have put at least a chair, but I put nothing because they don't want people living in this house going outside. Oh, I found these Realm of Magic bookshelves, and I was a little bit tempted for a minute, but I couldn't resist. I love how low profile those particular bookshelves are. I use those. They're kind of my feel safe, my go-to bookshelf. I'm a very big fan of those in all of my personal builds. There are some things, you know, you never deviate from because they're just too good to deviate from, and that's precisely what these were. See, I contemplated putting windows in the front on the 3rd floor only. And I really hope I remove them, but I might keep them. I do end up keeping them. That felt okay, I think. In hindsight, looking back at it, that felt okay because it's the upper 3rd floor. Like, who's looking in to a room 3 stories up? Nobody. But the main floor, only windows in the back. That is my bad. It has been a number of months since I did this build. And even at the time that I'm doing this voiceover, like, this video isn't coming out for you guys still for a couple of weeks. So, I mean, it's really been a while. We are getting into the ending of the build. So now that I've done these like common spaces, the rest of this is sort of going to fly by. Like, I'm just putting in all of the same bathroom items. Some of these bathrooms are a bit bigger than others. That is true. That can't be helped, unfortunately. It was just the way the cookie crumbled. You could have cut in and had a little bit less room, but I think I wanted more bedroom to bathroom ratio. Of course, the bigger bathrooms get a full bathtub and shower combination. And then I do pull the same cabinets for up in the main suite. I'm gonna try really hard to remember to say it like that. But otherwise, all of the other bathrooms are just the same shower. I think it's Realm of Magic shower too. Realm of Magic really came in clutch for this entire build. If you need any packs for this build, it's pretty much just base game and Realm of Magic, and then whatever pack the walk-in wardrobes come in, which might be maybe City Living. I don't remember the packs off by hand. Gotta put in the customary toilet paper rolls. You know, we don't do a lot of decoration and clutter objects in this build, but we do make sure that you have a roll of toilet paper in every bathroom because that's practical, and we're not monsters, we're not animals. Gotta have some toilet paper. It's always unfortunate when you don't have toilet paper on hand. Those moments make me super uncomfortable as a human being, especially if I'm out in public somewhere. Oh my goodness. I do put a couple of little vanities. I think I managed to fit a vanity in every bedroom, actually. And I put in a grand piano. It would have been cool to put the grand piano down on the main floor, I think, but it just felt more appropriate to put it up here for some reason, and I don't know why. Now that I look at this, I don't know why. And really realistically, this build should have had 2 pianos, one on each floor. But c'est la vie. Again, minimal mirrors. I tried to keep the mirror situation to a bare minimum because I knew that it would slow down or glitch the entire build. We do the little walk-in wardrobe in the main suite situation, a little closet on either side, his and hers. And then everybody gets the same table lamp. And as soon as they do, I take out the saucer lights. I keep one. I think I just keep one saucer light. I do try and keep things as dim as possible though, because the White Palace is a dimmer location, right? Like it's not a super well lit area. So it didn't make sense to keep White Palace like as a home build. It didn't make sense to keep it very well lit. Same curtain situation on all the windows. I actually don't remember what I do for the middle window in each of these. I might leave it empty. Hindsight, I should go in and put that one center curtain. Do I do the center curtain? I do the center curtain, you guys. I'm a genius. I don't say that often. I'm very glad I did that center curtain. There was so much just open, airy, dead space in this build that I wasn't 100% sure what to do with. Like, I knew I could put some type of bench in a lot of these areas, but then like people wouldn't be just milling about and sitting around. I mean, maybe they would, but it also didn't feel quite like that vibe. I do the same rug. It's the same rug in every room. We went with one thing and we just stuck with it. You guys, this build took me 5 hours. And that's just like copying and pasting all of the rooms, making very minimal decisions. 5 hours. Because it's a very big build. You know, it's a big space. Mansions are huge. It also didn't make any sense to have artwork that wasn't, I'm gonna call it Pale King portrait, even though it doesn't look like Pale King. He's the head guy, right? He's the head of the house. And then I do 2 little portraits, 2 little ladies, and him. I felt like that was sort of a nod to that one. I think it's a statue cluster that was originally in Gruzmother's little sleeping area there, right where there are the three characters. But there's a lady portrait on either side. One is the white lady and one is for Hera, because those were the Pale King's children. Those were the mothers of the children that the Pale King gave. And then we're gonna do a little bit of landscaping. Not a lot, but I wanted a fountain. I was like, if any place, this is the place to put in a fountain. And then there weren't a lot of white trees that made sense for this build. There were these bushes that had these like really pretty white roses on them. So I do put a lot of these in because it felt appropriate. I just fill in a lot of the open dead space with these. I went with, I think, the same tile. That I did on the porch, the deck, whatever you want to call it. We do a very grand entranceway, and I do think I maybe extend the path a bit out beyond. I kind of had a lot of fun. I don't think any of these shrubs would make sense when you think of White Palace, but I did these keeping in mind like a potential sim who would be living here. This was where I sort of went in a little bit more with like mob boss vibes, I think. And then I wanted to do shrubs, bushes all the way around. Spoiler, I do not. And you're gonna see why in a little bit. And then even the backyard, like this is not a place that you'd look at and go, I want to go play outside in the yard of this place. Like it is mostly driveway because realistically they need a lot of space to park their cars, right? Like there's just a lot of cars hanging around. And now you can see my dilemma. The bushes were clipping through the walls in the garage, and I just couldn't. I was not happy about it. I couldn't leave them there like that, but I wanted to keep a number of the bushes. So I just removed them from there and there. I'm sure that's fine. I would have gone with the same. I would have gone with the same cabinets, but it's a garage. You know, I'm being a little bit practical. They are white, but only on the areas that you can't see, which is a hard choice that I made. And then we're just putting a couple of vehicles out the back. Like, not vehicles that would be on display in the garage. These are practical vehicles. These are like potentially vehicles you would ditch if you had to in a tough situation. Who's to say? I clearly know nothing. I've seen a handful of mob movies. I have not seen many. I'll tell you that right now. And then I really wanted these like awkward looking bushes. I don't know why. I don't think I keep them. They're such a weird shade of green. And I put a little bit of the same tile on each of the exposed corners, the little triangles. You know, attention to detail. This really is a massive lot though. Like, if you do ever download this lot and choose to play it, it's big. It is a mansion after all. Oh, and then I found that fountain. And that fountain just seemed so much cooler. But it was not worth the headache that I was going through trying to put it there. So instead I do 2 mirroring fountains, because when it's a mansion, can you ever have too many fountains? I would argue that the answer is no. I would argue that the answer is no. You can never have enough fountains, I think. You know, fountains are a sign of wealth. You've made it if you can afford the water bill that comes along with a fountain. And then I found in the decorations, I found these like white knights, which just made me think immediately of you know, the knights that you fight in the White Palace, the guards. So I put a few of them around the place. It's symbolic. And then came in and did some light path work. Looking at it from that top-down angle, they sort of kind of look like eyes, don't they? Oh, and then I did feel like they would have greener grass. I come in and I make sure that there's brown underneath all of the bushes. And then I do little patches of dirt where the paths would be to like go sit at the benches and stuff. So that's it. This is White Palace. We do specific lot traits. Gotta keep everybody out. I hope you guys enjoyed this build. I'll see you in the last one. Be well.